Did you know that nearly 70% of change initiatives fail? As a change professional, avoiding failure is your top priority. But how do you recognize the pitfalls before it's too late? In this video, I'll walk you through 10 key reasons why change initiatives fail and how to spot them early. By understanding them, you'll be better prepared to spot and acknowledge the potential pitfalls that could derail your change initiative. And of course, you do not want to recognize them, but also address them, so stay on board. The first major reason change initiatives fail is poor diagnosis. Often, there's no clear understanding of the problem, or worse, the diagnosis is based on assumptions instead of facts. Without clarity on the status quo or a measurable starting point, change efforts lack direction. So analyze the change issue thoroughly. Similarly, goals are often ambiguous or undefined. A lack of agreement on the desired outcome leads to confusion. As John Cotter says, change needs a clear destination, even if it's just the next milestone. Always define your lighthouse, where you want to go next. So after you analyze the change issue, you better set a clear and realistic goal in closing your change gap. Our next pitfall is mindset and assumptions. Change professionals often assume they're completely objective, ignoring their own biases or perspectives. You'll better reflect upon yourself and learn as change enabler. You are often part of the change and not an objective spectator. And let's not forget the assumption that resistance is bad. In reality, resistance is often a sign of engagement and can reveal valuable insights. To overcome this, embrace flexibility and learn to work with resistance instead of against it. After all, as a change professional, you want to build also resistance, as well as resilience, for your change outcome. Another common trap: believing change is entirely manageable or linear. But change often unfolds in unpredictable ways. It's time to move away from a strict step-by-step change approach, and where appropriate, embrace a more flexible mindset. Think in terms of a Lemniscate. You might experience that after step 1 comes step 1 and not always step 2. The fourth reason change efforts fail is a weak or misaligned change approach. Too often, teams rely on cookie-cutter methods, assuming one size fits all. But as Professor Jock Boomstra research shows, development-minded approaches, in which change evolves, are more successful than rigid, step-by-step produce-minded methods, 66% against 24%. So in directing change, you better balance the directing of change with a healthy part of wondering and gradually shaping of the change, though it must fit with the situation you are in. Additionally, poor leadership or unclear ownership of the change process derails momentum. Without strong role models or leaders who take responsibility, change loses its way. Next to that, not engaging with your change sponsors and not valuing the change forces is killing. And here's the kicker: change often fails because leaders skip self-reflection. You can't lead others if you're not willing to adapt yourself. Change is fundamentally about people, and the human factor is a critical reason for failure. Whether it's ignoring cultural dynamics or neglecting behavioral change, the result is the same. People don't internalize the change. What's needed is that you have a view of the individual need to change. Next to that, you have to assess the change readiness and guide individual change. While doing so, you better inspire action and not despair. The big thing is that you want to activate change, so you want to connect with the change recipients. Consider large group interventions in which you have a dialogue with the involved people. Change is fundamentally about people, and communication is key. Not addressing that is the seventh fail factor. First of all, you need to share your organizational reason to change and its urgency. Next to that, you need to define your change communication strategy and create the communication interventions. What are you going to communicate, when, and how? Our eighth pitfall is cognitive traps, overconfidence, confirmation bias, and even denial. When faced with difficult realities, it's easy to either ignore them or reinterpret the facts to fit your narrative. So be aware of your own behavioral patterns and communication styles. Invite feedback, even if it's uncomfortable. Our ninth fail factor is a lack of urgency. Change fails when there's no sense of urgency or buy-in from key stakeholders. Without a clear and compelling reason for change, people won't engage. A lack of communication compounds this problem. If people don't know why change is happening or how it impacts them, they'll resist. Number 10 in change failure is not measuring the change. Remember that nearly 70% of change initiatives fail. What percentage would have a clear diagnosis? And what percentage measure the change one way or another? And how much interventions are executed without a sound and valid argumentation and measurement? So not measuring the change is a recipe for failure. Altogether, I shared with you a way of thinking about organizational change, focusing on fail factors and mentioning how to address them. But it is not that simple. All shown pictures 25 change topics are combined in this Lemniscate. Each of those change topics consists of 5 to 10 videos about change, which we share on our channel now and in the future. Meanwhile, have a dialogue with your change team using the Lemniscate. Consider pausing this video and make a screen picture of the Sea Change Lemniscate. Don't let them ask too much details. The dialogue and its sense-making is more important. Good luck in creating your dance of change. Subscribe and you will be notified for upcoming videos.